The grand finals here at the DreamHack Winter Grand Prix 2015 between Purple and Ersee. My name's Frodan. I'm joined by Nimsh and Lothar, two gentlemen who have been here since the very beginning, and I think we're going to close it out the same exact way, but with two faces where one you could predict, the other one might not so. He is the mysterious challenger. Nimsh, what's the journey been like for you throughout the past few days?
Oh man, it was an amazing couple of days because like 200 people, so many matches. We've seen so much fun stuff, and we've seen dreams on the shoulder. We've seen dreams crushed as well. But I think the most important part for me is that we've actually seen a lot of League of Explorers cards. We've seen Keeper, we've seen Bran, we've seen Reno. So League of Explorers is making a splash, and the new decks are amazing.
Quite the splash, in fact. You see some cards having a major impact from Bran Bronzebeard to Reno Jackson, as well as some other touches like the Ethereal Conjurer. Lothar, what's been some of the big storylines for you coming to this grand finals?
Well, I was really rooting for Howie after, of course, RDU lost to the top 16, but Howie was my second choice in this top 16 after that, and really kind of sad that he lost to Ersee, but at the same time, I'm happy to see that Ersee is actually a very thoughtful player, and even though he made some mistakes, he instantly recognized them as, well, you know, it was just a brain fart. It happens.
Sure.
You know, and but he knows that he has just to get that energy back and be full focus on the game, while Purple is playing really well. He had some luck in the semifinals because the series would have been completely different if he wouldn't top deck that big game hunter into Flame Tongue Totem.
I watched
Tyrion.
that.
I mean, this is like something that you don't really see often. So when it happens during a semifinal of a DreamHack, that's a story to remember.
That was the first time I saw it, and the way it lined up was it was like a meteor, like a shooting star falling over. I was like, wow, this is amazing. The Aurora Borealis happening right in front of me on a monitor. It was so fun to watch from my perspective. It's so painful if you're in Green Sheep's camp at all, whether you're teammate or you're actually him.
Yeah, and in the end, he actually lost 3-0 free,
Yeah,
so it's not good.
that wasn't exactly
But
the prettiest.
ultimately, we're going to have Europe versus NA in the final.
Yeah, and you know, Purple is sort of in the middle. You saw the French flag, which technically does kind of represent these days. He's on Gamers Origin, and he's been streaming a lot on the Hearthstone French channel, excuse me. But he's also, you know, hailing from Canada, but these days he is living in France. So he's kind of like this hybrid NA and EU, and a very cool ambassador for both the French community and the Western scene.
Absolutely, but he is the NA champion.
He does come in as the America's champion. He does. And we also had some good players who came from all sorts of BlizzCon runs. Green Sheep, one of the representatives from Europe last year, was a player that Ersee was able to overcome. Now, a story that I like to point out is that these guys have 6 different decks coming into it. We do have 2 similar classes, but you know the fact is they do play different archetypes, the Warrior Patron as well as the Warrior Control variant.
Yeah, that's true, and they're completely on the opposite sides, because Control Warrior is known for being a counter to Patron Warrior, when Patron Warrior was really kind of okay-ish a bit before the nerf against Control Warrior, but this changed a lot lately, and really like the decks that Ersee brought, like the OT. Okay, combo mid-range Warlock that he's playing is kind of unique when it comes to competitive environment, and it's awesome to see that in the finals because it actually works. It's like a hybrid between Zoo and a bursty Warlock, and it's something that not many players are used to, and they might make some mistakes when it comes to mid-game when they'll just count the damage wrong and be just swept with a Faces Manipulator and some, you know, crazy action.
Yeah, but even if you don't use the combo, you can still use the Faces when you get Jaraxxus from Void Caller. And there is this one card that both players play. It's Dark Peddler, and the card improved both of the decks because for the OTK Warlock, the mid-range Warlock, you can get a 3rd Power Overwhelming, and for the Malalock, you can get maybe Soulfire, which is great with Malygos and Torison as well.
Yeah, and we've seen some really interesting choices centered around the Discover mechanic that's really demonstrated the decision-making and the skill that goes around it. There was choices where we're like, well, clearly he wants the 3rd Power Overwhelming here, right? But no, he chooses a card like Blood Imp and then was able to make Blood Imp actually competitively viable for the first time in 2 years. We haven't seen Blood Imp purposefully selected to be played since 2013. I just want to point out because he got nerfed heavily by then.
People might not know that Blood Imp was a 1/1 minion with stealth that buffed minions
Permanently.
permanently by 1 HP, and it
Yes.
was a weird interaction because when the Blood Imp was killed, the minions were basically healed.
Right. It's
So-
very much like Stormwind Champion these days, where it's an
Yes.
instantaneous permanent buff that's everything onto the field, and it was incredibly overpowered. It was
Yes.
one of the strongest cards in Hearthstone history because it was 1 mana with a stealth. These days, Blood Imp is basically seen never. I mean, you see it on Unstable Portal most commonly, and now.
Mounted Raptor.
With Dark
Now,
Peddler,
now you might see Mountain Raptor, and now with Dark Peddler you might see commonly played. So that's where it becomes really cool. You see Ersee able to navigate that, while Purple is bringing a different Warlock. He's bringing a Dragon Warlock, which once again has been underestimated even by the pros who are still looking at it. They're like, well, yeah, and I still don't know why it's winning, but it's just very good against the meta that's that Purple is addressing here.
I've been talking to a lot of pro players, and all of them were like, I was about to bring that deck, but I wasn't sure. Well,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, everyone is talking like
See,
that.
at dinner, they were all like, yeah, of course, man. He brought Malleus. He's like, of course Malleus Ghost is really good against this meta. I'm like, no one was talking about it except for him. I mean, Purple and Proto were the two guys really pushing it, and they're both on Gamers Origin. I don't find that a coincidence at all. Yeah, this team found the best deck for this kind of meta and strategy.
Absolutely. And there is this one great card in the deck. It's called Brand Bronze Fury, and it does magic happen. We've seen Corruptor dealing 6 damage. We've seen Healbot healing 16, and those big Twilight Drakes as well.
I love Brand's Bronzebeard. I just named him Alagiggle because of his animation. It's just so hilarious.
Yeah, I mean the Vines stuff is great, and it's actually been valuable too. It's not just one of these things where it happened to have an okay impact, and sometimes was a game deciding factor where Purple had to think outside the box on how to use his battle cries effectively. And of course, rounding out the lineups are the Paladin here from Ersee versus the Druid for Purple. And when you take a look at these lineups overall, are we looking at one player to be advantaged at all?
I think Ersee should have an advantage because of that. What Lothar mentioned, the Control Warrior actually has a good matchup versus Patron.
Oh, not against Druid these days. Remember, this is Control Warrior, and looks like we're hopping straight into game number 1. Purple being on the Druid, which hit Wild Growth on turn 2. That is brutal. As a Control Warrior, you generally want to be able to shut down that ramp if they're playing it through Darnassus Aspirin, which it looked like he might have been able to address with maybe a weapon on turn 3, but in this case, Purple lands that ramp and is soon going to be dropping things like Shredder if he can curve out perfectly from there.
Yep. Let's see how it will be resolving in the future turns. Because for now, well, we're kind of in the blind. But
this is a good matchup for the Druid.
Yeah. This is a good matchup for the Druid. However, it's gotten much better from the Control Warrior's perspective because of cards like Bash. And you're also cycling things much more aggressively these days with Slam. So you do deal with mid-range threats more reasonably, and it makes your cards like Deathspite and Fiery War Axe actually have value. Because in the past, Fiery War Axe used to only kill Shredder but at the cost of around 9 to 12 life at times.
Oh, look at that. Bash actually counts when it's needed.
And if it's a 2-attack minion or less, that's really good for Ersee.
let's see what are we dropping out of Publisher. And it's actually
No.
kind of hilarious because that's one of the worst minions for the Warrior.
Yeah. In fact, Spectral Knight, back when Naxxramas first came out, was a card that was popular in Druid. And it was specifically effective against Rogue and Warrior because they couldn't interact with it outside of weapons and minions.
A really good decision to kill the Acolyte of Pain when it's only one card draw. In case of there will be a Taskmaster, maybe that's more draws for the Warriors, so you want to deny that.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking a look at Ersee's hand, he does have Deathspite, but it's going to be really difficult to activate this Execute. If you go for the weapon, you can set up a Whirlwind effect to clear off the Fairy Dragon here, but it's a very painful exchange, and the opponents are just going to build more threats. He's curving pretty strong into Shredder, Druid the Claw, and maybe into another Shredder, or even Emperor Thorson.
I think you do have to go for the weapon, not only because you can deal some damage right now, but next turn there will be 6 mana, and for 6 mana most of the minions have 5 health. So for the next turn you will be able to maybe execute the 4-2 and attack into the bigger minion, or maybe even just attack into the 4-2 and execute the big one. So you do want to have that whirlwind effect.
Yep, certainly. And I think this is a very painful thing, but necessary thing to happen. Plus, you never know if Purple whiffs and has, a couple of awkward other cards like another Wild Growth or a Savage Roar and Force Nature that he can't necessarily play just yet. And from the looks of it,
Turn 6 is really tricky for
He
Druid.
might not play anything.
What? Oh, that would be really awkward for purple. I mean, even like a Darkness Aspirin would be a good drop. He would have to get I don't know, additional Wild Growth, Force of Nature with double, with a second copy in hand.
Oh, it is 1 wild growth in the hand.
Okay, so I guess there might be.
That's scary
Well,
for Ersee because it's like he either has combo pieces or he has 7 drops that he's going to be hitting really hard on the table next turn.
Maybe he's just sitting on double swipe.
He also could be hitting some situational cards. I was thinking about Keeper of the Grove originally because that's something that's always a little bit awkward just to hit the opponent in the face for 2. But this big game hunter makes sense. If he's holding cards like Savage Roar, that could be just straight up game ending if he can get combo damage with it going.
Yeah, but if he only has like maybe those cards like the Keepers of the Grove, he will not be able to put enough pressure. So it's really key what is he going to play next turn, because right now Ersee has almost a full hand and he has the Acolyte of Pain to provide even more cards if he needs.
What a top
That's
version
a
of lore.
big time draw here from purple.
Will replenish the hand for purple and allow him to probably get the pieces that he needs for the combo. But it's still.
You can't deal with it, in fact. He needed Cruel Taskmaster. He can draw for the answer, though. Still
Yeah.
has an execute. Can't Shield Maiden Shield Slam, though, and that's what really hurts because this Ancient of Lore, if you can't deal with the threat, is just going to be punishing you. Not to mention, you might just die to a Force Nature Savage Roar.
And even
on turn
putting
9.
an Armor Smith and Hero Powering doesn't put you outside the range of combo because it's exactly 21. So if you don't get an answer, here you will have to play Shields Maiden. So there are 2 options. Actually, there's only one, I guess. It's
Yeah,
Shields
Shield
and
Maiden.
That's it.
Alright, so Ersee decides to not draw the card. He's just going to push the damage, and he hopes that the 5/5 is going to trade into 5/5. So
Second lore. That is
Wow.
also really
Wow.
tough. And once again, if he shreds the armor, it's not easy to deal with 2 of these 5/5s. Not to mention that now he's picked up more cards and Innervate, leaving him up to ability to use Keep at the Grove here. And looks like he will end up silencing the card. I like that choice rather than just giving him a card but controlling state of the board. That's more impactful.
I also like attacking to face because you're the one being pressuring Warrior, and there might be a Savage or somewhere there as well. So you're forcing Warrior to trade
Yeah.
into your minions.
Definitely.
So-
Well, you're back at the square one in a way. It's like, well, you tried to stabilize and get out of combo range, but is it possible to play around it right now?
It's tough. I mean, like he can kill one of the 5/5s, obviously trading into it, and then he has nothing that can actually deal with the rest of the minions. So maybe, so he can go with double Armor Smith to get a lot of armor.
Yeah?
But
And that means he-
lots of armor is
Hmm.
only 4. Basically, with 6, that's maximum what you can get.
What else can you do, really? Because if you go maybe like 1 Armor Smith, Harrison Jones, that's some power on board. Playing Justicar doesn't achieve that much.
I'm not sure. I do think that at least 1 Armor Smith is correct here. I mean, you might even consider Big Game Hunter because you need more power on the board.
Then I would consider Harrison Jones instead because it
Okay.
contestates the
Ancient of
Ancient
Lore.
of
The
Lore.
other Ancient of Lore? Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have Ignore the Combo, right? Because you're still dead to the combo, so
Yeah,
there's none.
You can't play around it, so I think you just play your best opportunity to respond to it if your opponent doesn't have it. But Purple was also holding a lot of cards on turn 6 when he was not able to do stuff. And that is going to be game number 1 over in Camp Purple. Very fast, but this is exactly what Druid wanted to do, and that is a big win because the Control Warrior is no longer available to start the Patron.
Yep.
So you can argue if the Contra Warrior was a good pick to start the match because that was an important deck to counter the Patron. So maybe he really thought that Patron is the deck to pick in the very beginning.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
And he's been starting Patron a lot.
Well, he did start the last 2 semifinal and quarterfinal were started by Patron, but I guess it's kind of like a lottery when it comes to Purple. You know that he is thinking a lot when it comes to picks, and he might just outplay when it comes to picking or Ersee here.
So you mean like Purple started Patron with Green Sheep because he wanted to set up the Druid versus Contra Warrior in
Of
the
course,
final?
that was the plan all
No,
along.
it's actually the other way around. It's like because he knows he starts Patron, and he might know that Control Warrior will try to catch something like that because he has matchups that would be good against it. he can try to see he can snipe it, and then he just plays Druid anyways. And the thing about this wheel that people are like, well, it's rock, paper, scissors. In the end, one player is right, so he makes the correct prediction. So it doesn't matter what it is. Like, one player does, in the end, get that choice. Well, so with the 1-0 lead in the best-of-5 finals, that's a huge lead already for Purple being able to snipe that deck. In the meantime, guys, we're going to try and fix everything here. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to resume the grand finals here at the DreamHack Winter Grand Prix. Welcome back, everybody, to the DreamHack Winter Grand Prix. We know you missed us. It's time for the grand finals to continue. Game number 2 between Purple and Ersee is already underway. That Druid sniping the Control Warrior was paramount to the strategy of Purple coming together. As you can see, both these guys really eager to get back into the game. So let's go. Paladin versus the Druid. Not going to skip a beat at all. The Paladin deck here by Ersee has also been pretty successful, generally speaking, but against Curve like that has early Garnassus Aspirant, that's going to be a problem no matter what Paladin deck you're starting with.
Yeah, but the start from the Paladin is not bad either. The Zombie Chow into Massive Battle will be enough to clear the Garnassus Aspirant.
Yeah, that's a very good start. And also, Ersee had that exact matchup versus Hoy, and he did extremely well. He was able to pressure enough to win the game in the end. So we'll see. Like, it seems like both players have all right hands. But on the other hand, what do you do as purple? You are starting. You don't have the coin.
Yeah, you're going to Darnassus Aspirant on 2. Most likely innervate something either very quickly early on, like say he has Druid the Claw and he can protect Darnassus Aspirant, or Lotheb.
Brand's Bronzebeard on turn 1 into Garnassus Aspirant.
You're such a troll! Right before the game, right before this game, I was showing Lothar my amazing Reno Druid.
No, you were showing
with
you my hand.
that ran Justicar Trueheart. And ooh, that's a really good draw too, because now he knows that Zombie Chow out, so he gets contested. But even if it gets killed, he can Wild Growth on 3 into Lotheb. But you know, I actually got the dream because we're like, well, Brand Bronzebeard is clearly never good in Druid decks. So what if we? But I got Innervate Brand into Darnassus Aspirant to Sludge Belcher.
You made it actually good.
It was so sick.
You know what's good? That opening is good for sure. Just killing the Aspirant here.
Oh my god.
Okay,
And
so
too many ramp is too many.
The second Wild Growth is arguably not very strong here.
And he has to sacrifice Lotheb just to regain board control. And this is something I don't think will actually happen. Ersee might just play the Keeper of Ulduman and go face.
Well, he
this turn,
doesn't
though.
have enough mana to, though.
Yeah,
What I'm talking about is Sinful, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the power of Innervate here, because normally you would, but instead he sacrificed a lot of his board. And, you know, I like this play because now that Purple drew the second Wild Growth, he can double Wild Growth next turn, or he can still just do 1 if he picks up a 5-mana minion
yeah,
for
but
the
then
following
he
turn.
needs to pick up the minion. Many times we've seen the ramp elements being in the opening hand, and then Druid player was getting another Innervate, Swipe, another Force of Nature, and it's tough. Like, even the European qualifier, Ostkaka, had that exact hand there.
So he is opting to take less damage.
Yeah, Raph is one of the cards that's not the best, but he might actually use it to cycle.
Yeah, certainly. I think in this case, your hand is so poor that you generally just need to hit a minion. Oh,
my God.
That's not good.
That's exactly what I've been talking about. It's so hard if you get those spells. So I think that's one of the only inconsistencies in Druid. But on the other hand, he did Wild Growth, so he has more mana, and if he actually gets those minions, he'll be in a good position.
Well, Paladin doesn't exactly have the ideal 4-mana play here. You'd normally want to drop the Pilot Shredder, but Knife Juggler is, you know, it's okay, but it is susceptible to things like Keeper of the Grove. I guess
That's
you feel
true,
better because
but
one Wrath's been used.
I think that Purple would go for the Keeper of the Grove on turn 4 if he had it, because the just one minion on the board will be very weak to that Keeper of the Grove, and Purple wanted to have any kind of board control, you know. So not blaming him for going for the Map Juggler and Hero Power just to set up a better Keeper of Ulduman, but he's being answered by the Force of Nature.
Well, I guess it keeps the state of the board strong. Blessing of Kings can't be used. Neither is Quartermaster or Keeper of Ulduman.
Now we can go with the Master Hero Power to try to set up the board and hope there is no swipe.
Hope there's no Harrison Jones either, because that would magically make Purple very strong, because then he has a lot of mana to use with a lot of cards.
Is Purple playing even Harrison Jones?
Yeah.
I believe Ersee, one other person before the series we were watching, there was a Harrison Jones played.
Yeah, he is playing Harrison Jones, I think.
Okay. I mean, Shredder is something. It's not much. I don't think Wild Growth is even worth using at this point, because he's better off at Cycle in a couple turns to improve your hand.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work with the Innervate turn 8. So
No, that's it's a mistake that many players might do. I certainly have never made that mistake.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah, where I've tried to innervate and Wild Growth for the card.
that sounded very like those players saying, "Yeah, Malagos Warlock, of course it's the best deck in the format."
It was my 4th deck. I almost brought it.
I can see why you would think that, but no, I certainly have made that mistake.
Keeper is so cool. I really like the card. I can't wait to just play it on ladder as well. To try it out.
Yeah, it's very, very versatile card. It's been said many times. In this case, it's really good, and I like that Ersee's been so conservative with his health total. I mean, if it was one attack, or sorry, if one health or two health, it didn't really matter. Ersee could still deal with this very effectively, and he ends up just hero power passing.
And now the big question, is there a minion? Like, Swipe is not terrible as well because he can deal with the board. That minion is not good.
Keeper into Force of Nature.
Yes.
Sounds really terrible.
It's terrible also not only because the minion is not great, but the thing that there is Tyrion in the deck, and you, in theory, would like to keep the Keeper for Tyrion, but you do have to develop the board.
But there's the Keeper, Uldaman.
So many Keepers, right?
Yeah, there are too many Keepers being released. We have to like start using the second name of the second part of the name of the card to, like, you know,
What's
keep it short.
Yeah, what is the opposition of the Keeper, Frodan? What's the word? Something is keep. So Keeper is
I literally have no idea what you're asking. What's the what?
all right. So Keeper is keeping something safe, for example, right?
Yeah, he's a guardian.
He's a guardian.
Yeah.
So what would be the opposition to that? Like someone who is trying
Oh,
to.
something that's not keeping?
Yeah, like stealing
It's
maybe.
losing.
Schematics.
Giving away maybe. Yeah. Okay, you said that.
I don't know. Well, he draws into the combo, I guess. You know, interestingly enough, it's get to that point where if you can get Boom and like do something pretty nasty with those Boom bots, you never know. It's one of those things where Paladin is still very far from threatening, especially with Zombie Chow on board.
But he has Tyrion, and one Keeper was already played. He
Yeah.
can clear the board with the 1/1 or
Yeah.
just Zombie Chow and Keeper.
There are no Shredders next to that Tyrion, so it looks like the coast is clear. Yeah, play Tyrion.
Perfect. Looks really good for Ersee still.
The good Shredder placement from the last game from between Purple and
Oh, the mortal enemy of Tyrion. If only Purple could plant the Shredder on the other side. Wild Growth maybe can hit something useful here. Another
Tension
lure, you
Ball,
know, it's not bad.
It is useful, but then it dies to Tyrion easily.
I mean, look, we're not being picky here. He's got double combo. Oh, he can also innervate Shade, but he chose not to here.
Actually, if he gets a weapon. Oh wait, is that it? That's almost that's 15. That's it.
Oh, it is, with 2 consecrations. That's enough. Well, this game was really one-sided. A lot has to do with the hand of Purple, but it wasn't very optimistic from the beginning. Mid-range Paladin has definitely been holding Druid in a stranglehold, and I think the Druid's job is done, to be honest. It's already gotten the win against Control Warrior.
which
now
was the plan all along.
Now Purple can just go ahead and queue up his Patron Warrior and then just ride that train for a while.
Yeah, I think the matchup is good for Patron Warrior, but I've seen Paladin winning that as well. Paladin is really fearsome, and Purple is one of the few players who didn't bring Paladin to the tournament.
Now that's sweet, right?
And
the
yet
idea,
he is in the final.
the idea that he can have such a strong win rate without playing Paladin, and of course every player was like, yeah, I was thinking about doing the same thing. No, you weren't. You were everyone. I pointed all of them, like, all of you were playing Secrets Paladin. Like, don't give me, and mid-range Paladins. Like, oh, don't give me that.
Well, actually, this is not a secret Paladin. This is awesome as well. It's
yeah,
actually a
I mean,
mid-range.
but to be honest, Secrets Paladin is mid-range. It just has a very strong tipping point, similar to the high main for a hunter.
Yeah,
it's like,
not that much difference. Yeah, you're
so
right,
so
you're right.
you look at mid-range hunter and you're like, well, is it mid-range? He plays really aggressive. It's like, yeah, once you get like high main and really powerful minions, but it's the same exact concept. Mid-range paladins, in theory, is not too much different from even a control paladin. That's kind of the big differentiation because there's not a lot of closing potential from this deck.
It is, but if you look at Ersee's lineup, you cannot say that he is cheesing this tournament. He brought really tough decks to play. That Warlock he brought and Contra Warrior, this Paladin, they're really tough.
No, and they're complicated decks to play, especially that mid-range Warlock. Love that approach that he's bringing too. This Armor Smith is going to do some work here because it's going to collect some armor, and more importantly, it's also going to be damage so that Battle Rage is relevant. Ersee chooses not to attack, and wisely so. That Acolyte, though. That Acolyte, though. My goodness. Big-time draw here for Purple, and there's no true silver champion way on the other side.
He even
Well,
has the
there
Battle
is
Rage.
one, but
Oh, sorry. My bad. I didn't see that.
hey, don't worry.
For some reason, I really thought that wasn't a true silver champion.
this screen is kind of away. so
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of yellow cards as well.
we had
And
some
for some
mistakes.
reason, he has a true silver champion.
Well, the Acolyte did its work anyway.
The Golden True Silver Champion is pretty awesome. It's just a blinding amount of light. That's what it is.
The sweetest golden card is Flame Lance, at least for me.
I really like.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you
Flame
seen?
Lance?
Have you
Have you
seen?
Did you see it?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Golden Entomb.
Oh yeah, okay. Golden Tomb is sweet too,
And
but the
Golden Tomb is
golden
cool.
Flame Lance is just
no,
amazing.
no. Dreadsteed is my jam.
Damn.
Golden Dreadsteed.
Golden Dreadsteed is on fire. It's a horse on fire.
I actually like Murloc Knight.
It's like the Hunger Games. They wrote it. It's on fire. It was really cool, man. Do you want to True Silver this down, or do you want to silence? I don't know. Either way, this.
Silver.
Cruise of the Champion generates tempo here, so I guess this might be more important. But you don't have a follow-up. That's the problem. You would
Yeah.
like to play at 5 mana Healbot?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Healbot, or maybe there would be something to Aldor, because normally there is not that much to Aldor. So, what
Okay.
is the 4-drop you can play?
That was a very interesting move to shut down the Armor Smith.
instead of Acolyte, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Is he going for
So
Fatigue Plan?
first of all, Patron, even if it goes to Fatigue, will certainly want you to do that. They want to draw cards.
Well, this pushes him to use the Owl to...
Oh, okay, because he didn't have a turn 5 play, so
Yeah.
he's just gonna owl anyways. But isn't it? I feel like that's slightly risky in case he had a Cruel Taskmaster or something.
Isn't it better to silence the Ghoul and kill the Acolyte of Pain with True Silver Champion? Because the Ghoul has still a relevant battle cry. Sorry, Death Rattle.
Well,
It
if
kills your
He just
owl.
wants to
Yeah.
draw 0 cards from here. But then Purple does have the Battle Rage, which is really big too.
Interesting. It's that I feel like that Ruined effect from Ghoul will be having a huge impact on this game.
Yeah, certainly. And now this Battle Rage is going to draw 2, which is not what Ersee wants to see. Hitting into some pretty strong minions in the upcoming turns, too.
Yeah,
Floating
pretty good
Berserkers a 6/4 just for measly 3 mana.
It's fine. He's got Peacekeeper, though.
Well, that doesn't really solve the problem because he's still standing there.
Yeah, it's so funny
Yeah,
because even if
yeah,
you do
you're
the
right.
Peacekeeper on frauding,
Just reset him, and he gets it back to his next turn.
absolutely. Because
Yeah.
there's also like a warning effect from that goal, right? So whatever happens, there might be some.
Yeah,
Well,
you
have
know.
to attack it first and then Peacekeeper. That's horrible.
Yeah. Not to mention, if he has a single weapon, just the exact same thing happens over and over. Peacekeeper does allow you to also develop a Cog Hammer.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a big problem for Warrior to deal with because he has no easy way to go through the Divine Shield.
Except for Slam, and that happens to be in the hand. You know,
so
interesting
happens.
fact,
I
it
don't know how
doesn't
that
actually buff the Cool Taskmaster because no one took damage. Did you know?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sure. And let me guess, you were also thinking about bringing Malygos Warlock to this tournament.
I was certainly thinking about that.
You guys are goons.
But do you know that exact same thing was happening in the other card games we played? Everyone was like, yeah, of course I was also thinking about bringing that deck, but you know, I just was stuck in the obvious metagame.
In normal
Yeah.
card games, it happened that like people said like, actually I had that deck ready, but I forgot to take it, so I had to change it at the last
The
moment.
best excuse is when they use things like obviously, or like anybody who plays the game knows that, you know, like yeah. Well, coming back into the position here from Paladin, you do have some really good control options as time develops. That Peacekeeper number 2 though is one of your key answers to for bigger threats, and Shredder's like a middle-sized threat. You know, some of the bigger ones are yet to come.
Well, he has at least one Keeper of Ulduman still in the deck,
Yes.
And he has equality in hand.
but the equality has to be kept for patron turns.
But yeah, and
obviously,
the
yeah.
equality also doesn't actually have a follow-up other than weapon itself, which is not what you want to be.
I wonder if there was any merit to just playing True Silver there. I know you do lose the 2-3,
Nope.
but
Our admin hit the Windows button. Classic
No.
rookie mistake. It's all good. Yeah. Well, you know, now this board here for Dr. Boom maybe can have an impact. You just saw him use the Peacekeeper number 2, so he has to use equality. And he did pick up the Knife Juggler.
Does he have to? Let us think. Well, Purple will not develop the board further away. I mean,
That's
for
true.
the minions, if there will be the bomb still on board.
Do you maybe true silver then instead and just take the damage like a man?
Like a paladin with a beard.
You do have the Lay on Hands in hand, so in theory you can
Yeah.
take that damage because you're gonna heal back and heal bot as well. So if you got True Silver and you kill it, what happens then? You can attack one of the bombs.
Well, first I believe you know the hair on his chest grows by about 2 inches. The second thing that happens is you do manage to establish a pretty good weapon for any other mid-range threat as time goes on. So I like that plan. And look at that, what a man! I
mean,
love it.
You know
Tanking boom straight to the face.
people at Blizzard have really a weakness to Monty Python, and I feel like the paladin is just the lumberjack from Monty Python. So
Yeah.
I am a paladin.
I get
and
that
I'm
vibe
okay.
too.
Well, with all those heals, he's definitely okay.
Oh. Wow, it's not very good. The Shredder was not going to really do much anyways. You're kind of happy absorbing a knife juggle here.
Oh, that's kind of unfortunate.
Well, you still have the weapon, and you can develop Lothar.
Yeah. I mean,
And
he
Pirate.
preferred to keep the Shredder as this 1-2 though, because then Consecration becomes weaker. But he did use Lothar, so somewhat inconsequential.
Oh, damn! You can throw the armor plates at your opponent.
Yeah, that's a great play. And this is setting up for lethal, by the way. There is a heal bot, though. And when you see that your opponent's not playing control and weaponing to the face, I think it's a really strong indication that he has something like Romash. So you certainly have to play something like the heal bot here, or else you're just going to die. Or does he die anyways?
How much damage? Yeah, how much damage is this? This is 10 plus 10, 20 damage.
21. That's 10, 15, 17,
23.
21 off. Sorry,
It'd
3
be
off.
Free off, yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything he can actually draw to win if he gets
Inner Rage?
No, he's
Inner
free
Rage
off.
is not enough. Battle Rage is not
Rage.
bad either.
Can he ruin though?
He can draw 3 cards now. That's really good. That's really, really good.
But then you don't have the activator. But then if you draw 3 cards, it's
I think you don't care.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Battle
absolutely.
Rage. And then if you pick up any reasonable minion here,
Death Spite is good.
Is
Death
okay.
Spite's.
Fireworks is redundant.
You did swing with the Death Spite.
Yeah, but it's like 4 damage for the next turn. I don't think you want to play Patron without any kind of, you have pressure on board already. The Patron doesn't change, it doesn't change nothing.
Yeah, and there can be Equality Consecration as well.
Which
And
might even, be something that he considers as time goes on if he doesn't have much to do. But Murloc Knight,
Not helping that much.
Well, no,
it's
there's a charge
something.
minion inside of it. I'm
Yeah,
sure of
if
that.
you get the old Murkai, that's highly relevant because now you kill Lotheb.
Well, it's like a little 1 to 12 to get it.
Is there 12 Murlocs? I thought there were 9.
Oh, really? That's so low? No, the totems are really low, but the Murlocs are around 12, I think. If
Okay.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
If it's a 1 in 12, that's just at around 9%. Really, that's funny because I think I saw a video the other day where the Murloc Knight was summoning old Murkai like 3 or 4 times. Oh,
Wow.
Super JJ stream! I remember seeing that.
Oh, Super JJ gets
was
that
so
every,
funny,
every
man.
time. But yeah, Lion Hands is a good choice here. Just topping yourself up. There is only 11 damage that you can see on board, so hope to get something better.
Ooh, the weapon draws.
Yeah, I mean, where was that all game? He needed that much earlier, but it's still okay because he's got Patron Flood as well as some really decent pressure. Next turn, like you're mentioning that 11 attack, he's going to be able to add another 10 to it, so that's 21. And then if he picks up a +2 enrage effect,
Like
that'd be
in a
great.
rage.
Or
Or
Taskmaster,
Taskmaster.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So being Ersee, what do? Is there any way you can actually clear this board? You do have equality, but you can't deal that much damage. You can get weapon from Master of Battle. It won't do much though.
yeah, this is a really tough turn because you recognize that you don't have easy ways to address the board, but you don't want to let go of something like equality this early.
If you equality, you ensure at least if there's a weapon attack, the minions will die. But yeah, you're right. It might be too valuable, especially because
Yeah.
you do expect patrons to be there at some point.
All right, here we go. Murloc Knight, hero power.
So old Murkai
Old
is
Murkai
good.
is really good in this situation.
See, there's a charge.
That's pretty good.
Is there always a charge minion?
I mean, it was almost as if Murloc Knight's ability was just like Battlecry deal 2 damage, which is not
It's
bad
the
for
new
6 mana.
Keeper of the Murlocs.
I guess so. But what? Oh man, Grim Patrons with Unstable Ghouls and Whirlwinds. How far do you go into the hole here? Do you Whirlwind, or do you just hold on after this? Maybe you do end up Whirlwinding.
Unstable Ghoul is fine as well.
I don't think you need to overextend with the patrons, because you have 3, 6, 11, 15, 21 damage next turn if you go for the Gromish, so definitely enough.
Yeah, that's why you don't Whirlwind as well, because you need to Activator for Grom for next turn.
Well, the equality here almost certainly to come out, considering that it's also a natural board clear with the Unstable Ghoul. One interesting fact is the Pilot Shadow was played before the Unstable Ghoul, so if it happens to collide, it will damage or even potentially kill the unit that comes out.
Oh my god, our light well.
That's not bad. I mean, it can die to the Death Spite, which will happen next turn. But
too bad it got damaged.
Yeah, the damage part of it is what complicates it.
But still, like, you have to attack with the Death Spite into the Lightwell, right? Or, like, normally he would attack face and then set up lethal for next turn. But because there is the Lightwell can actually heal, so you might be forced to attack into Lightwell.
No, well, if you hit the face and it heals itself, then you still set it up next turn.
Yeah, then you just win.
Yeah, I like this. It's a 50-50 to potentially set up lethal.
It's so funny. The Lightwell can actually help him. Oh, yeah, there's an execute.
Wow, that respect!
That's great, yeah, because now he is setting up lethal.
Yeah, I like it. I didn't really think about it because we're sitting there like, he can't play spells. And he can't do anything about it.
That's game.
That's it.
Wow, the execute on the Lightwell was a guaranteed play. Something that he spotted immediately. Purple's on point, man. He's telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm feeling sick. I don't feel good. I maybe drank a little too much. But he's playing on point, man.
Executing Lightwell.
Execute Lightwell. That's something that you don't see every day.
Yeah, and it won him the game. Just like that.
Sick. Well, that's a 2-1 lead for Purple. And this Patron Warrior getting the win that needs to. And
he does attack. Yeah.
His finger slipped, I think. He's just being very careful. Being very careful not to mess up here.
Yeah, you do want to attack face.
That tablet mechanics.
Those are not those flicks I know from you, Frodan.
Yeah. It's okay. Purple is up 2-1 right now and putting himself on tournament point. Just has to win one more game, and he's going to be facing off first against the combo lock of Ersee, and if he doesn't have that, he can go to his tried and true Malygos Warlock.
It's so interesting that Malygos Warlock might not be used in the final at all, but if he loses, that will be his last resort.
Unfortunate if that happens, because that's the deck that got him the farthest. He said that he went 17 games without losing, and then he lost one game and got really mad.
Yeah.
Like, this deck is perfect. They shouldn't lose a game.
And before that, he had 85% win rate on ladder with that deck.
Yep. Something that he came up with a couple of his teammates here. And with that weapon opening, that's kind of what he wants here. So that's a good start. Ersee, in the meantime, is going to be looking for just a traditional curve, followed by some really big power plays as the game goes on.
Yeah, it looks good
he
for
needs to keep the Twilight Drake for sure.
And him Gangbus as well.
Yes, those are the two best minions against any kind of warrior because they are really sticky to the board and push the warrior to use AoE clears. And it's the M-game boss. So it's wise to keep both of those.
He's looking for Dark Peddler though.
Is he? I don't think so.
Well, it's always good to have Dark Peddler in the beginning. It's a minion. Especially if there is a weapon, you want to bait at that weapon attacks.
The Peddler is so important in the mid game when you can the discovery will most likely affect immediately the board state with its draw.
Very interesting. I agree a lot with Ersee's keep of the Shadow Flame. It's his answer to Patron. He throws away Imgang Boss most likely because he doesn't want it to be caught in this Acolyte problem of maybe he draws cards or he kills it with Death Spite and then there's an Acolyte just picking off the 1/1s.
Maybe he feels also that it's not a turn free play because he'll be coining Drake on free, so that's why not only it was awkward on mana, on the other hand, as you said, Acolyte is a problem.
Yeah, if you keep 2 4-cost cards and you're keeping a 3-cost, you're just going to have a very hard time drawing to an early game curve. So in the interest of doing that, he ends up going for this play. And now with the Frothing Berserker somewhat threatening the board here.
He's going to coin the Dark Bomb to kill instantly Frothing Berserker. He's really worried about the damage stacking out. So he is favoring immediate
Wow.
response to the threats instead of having a Twilight Drake with more health by 2.
Yeah,
That
and
should be good,
I
though.
think Purple's okay with that. It's like he just
Yeah.
spent both of his Dark Bombs. That's less threats to deal with patrons as the game goes on, because normally if they don't have AoE like Hellfire, they have to Dark Bomb stuff.
And the Twilight Drake is 4/7, so dies to the Fury Warx. I'm not sure if I'd like that trade with those Dark Bombs. I mean, the deck is very versatile. The Warlock has Belchers, has some heal bots, and it might be not that afraid doing mid game when you know that your opponent has only burst options with Gromesh. So
Well, the problem is if you play Twilight Drake and if there's Execute, you easily lose it, and also you open minions for a possible Battle Rage. So dealing with the threats
Yeah.
early, you do have all this follow-up. So as long as you just clear the board, like Patron will try to play on tempo. So if you deny tempo to Patron, you should be able to overcome the early game.
I love it, man. Drawing cards and hitting face and making the Twilight Drake trade into the Shredder. And that's okay. I think cycling Inner Rage is really powerful when you can get Battle Rage with chain into other stuff. I think Purple recognizes he doesn't have much of a play the following turn, so I think that's a very good attack. Lance Carry, one of the worst things that you can have, because 1-1s and 1-2s are just not impactful at all.
yeah, and doesn't trade up with the Belcher who was just played, so that's kind of unfortunate for Purple.
He does have a slight play with Grim Patron and Whirlwind here, because then he also can kill the first half of the Belcher, or first 2/3. Let's not forget that Belcher carries the most of the load here.
Yeah, it's not bad, but not the best as well. So if Ersee is able to deal with those patrons,
Well, he has
Purple
an
might be
easy
in trouble.
answer. There's a PO and Shadow Flame. There's a yeah, basically that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to part ways with Arcane Golem, I think, right now.
yeah, Charger can go into patrons. Like, well, honestly,
What if you just Belcher afterwards? Is that too greedy?
So you push your opponent to overextend? Might be actually okay.
Yeah, it's a nice play. So he is not that scared about this.
The problem is you give your opponent a Battle Rage. Woohoo!
Yeah, you gave him the Battle Rage, and that's great for Purple. Getting 3 draws off the Battle Rage.
But then again, the question is who wins the long game? Because Ersee, if the game goes long enough, you'll be able to accumulate the combo parts, and then 24 is the number, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, he ends up copying this instead. This is a pretty cute play. Overriding the Death Spite, so that way you can guarantee get the Whirlwind effect off.
But he's not drawing the cards, and Ersee actually camouflaged that Shadow Flame. So Purple makes a call that there is no AoE for Ersee, but there is one.
Yeah, this was a really cool play that Ersee has baited his opponent into thinking that he doesn't have a way to remove it. Let's see. If you Power Overwhelming Shadow Flame, that gives you room to tap. He might even Mortal Coil for something else, though. I don't know.
Something with free attack.
Something with 3 attack would be great, but he only has access to the Arcane Golem. So if he Arcane Golem Shadow Flame, it's like you get rid of that instead of your Power Overwhelmings. I don't really know if I like that as much.
At this point, if you're looking at only 2 cards from Warrior, you might get the risky move, but on the other hand, that is a combo card you need. And Patron, even though it's getting healed, it is getting a bit lower there.
Chow does 1 damage. And back to square one for Purple with almost no hand and at the mercy of his opponent's mid-range threats would be coming out. He's going to have to need a lot of help here from the top of the deck. I guess the Unstable
And
Ghoul
the
is
Battle
nice. Yeah. The Battle Rage will be nice because you'll be able to trigger it almost guaranteed, especially if he picks up Acolyte Pain.
So now it's there is a silence as well. So this is a big turn for Ersee. How
I
to
don't
deny?
think he will go for the Owl because it does like the turn that Purple was playing last time didn't indicate that he has a Battle Rage in hand. So silencing here makes no sense.
It also conveniently plays into like Battle Rage, I guess. Yeah, this play does as well. In fact, with the Ghoul out there, I think he might not even mind at all getting some damage and popping some imps here. Kill that one in Battle Rage. And that's 3 draws. Really big moment here. Purple can make a comeback.
Battle Rage is such a great card, and it's actually nerfed.
Wow!
Oh, Dr. Boom
Dr.
as well.
Boom! Wham! And that is a really threatening board here if he picks off the Imp Gang boss from this point on. And that Boombots might even just threaten the Azure Drake.
That's a very good point. In it,
Not to mention all the armor he's going to gain to make sure he
Well,
stays alive.
I think that Ersee is being pushed to use his PO on Azure Drake, silence the Ghoul, and go directly to kill the Dr. Boom. Oh wait! He can attack with the ghoul, with the 1/1. What I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So he can attack into the into the Ghoul, Mortal Coil that, and then PO.
Well, he can PO the 1/1, right? 5, 6. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what if the Drake dies?
Actually, he could have power overwhelming the 1/1,
okay.
attack into the Ghoul. The 1/1 then is a 5/5. Dr. Boom gets damaged by the Ghoul, and then attack and coil Boom.
Yeah,
That could have been pretty bad for Ersee if it is Drake
Yeah,
ended
you're
up
right,
dying.
Nims. That was the best play, I think.
Well, he has another Mortal Coil, which he can use later on to cycle through. I don't think Worgen Infiltrator is particularly useful there.
It wasn't bad though, because he still has like 8 damage. Oh, is he going to push right now? It makes sense because you recognize you need to be aggressive.
But he's trading.
Oh, he's trading. Okay. Well, there's only 3 cards for Warrior, and you've seen a lot of threats as well.
Recognize that this mid-range threat is it. If that was Gromosh, though, that was it. That was the game in the tournament. But now Purple is just taking this opportunity to slowly, methodically push through. And
he's
really
getting closer to the Gromash in his deck.
And he has the activators as well. But there is Mal'Ganis. Can Mal'Ganis seal it at some point? Not now, though. Or maybe you just slam Mal'Ganis. 9 attack minion.
you can coil for 6 and then Peddler.
Yeah, I would favor that instead of anything else.
Flame it.
Undertaker! Oh no, it's the meta all over again! Does he even have Death Rattles in his deck?
He actually has a mech in hand.
He has
So
Void Color.
Cogmaster can
Oh
be
wait,
buffed.
yeah, Cogmaster does get buffed by the Antique Heal bot.
Oh,
So
man.
it's like Flame Imp.
It's so funny Cogmaster can actually get like good attack.
Yeah. I mean, Undertaker, there are Death Rattles, like this Void Caller, for example, and Sludge Belcher, but I think Cogmaster is the best pick.
He goes for the Flame Imp. Now, I'm surprised, because first of all, that puts another demon to his hand when he will have a Void Color, so he wants to play it SAP.
He has Mal'Ganis that he wants it to be a 5.
He will actually play it, I feel, because he has Mal'Ganis, so the Flame Imp is gonna be a 5.
What a ballsy play!
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
And if
didn't-
Gromosh is drawn,
That's no Gramash.
oh my
That
god!
was so unnecessary risky.
Ooh, heart attack!
Well, Ersee is a guy who is really high risk, high reward, and he showed that during the Hoi play. He's just taking this risk.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what?
I don't know.
I would tap. If there is Grom, I'm dead anyway. So I will assume
No,
there is
he
no Grom.
wasn't.
Well, he's gonna play the Mal'Ganis and
He wasn't
Flame Imp
that
here,
turn.
right? Oh no, I guess he just plays Mal'Ganis just straight up on the board, force the warrior to attack into it.
There's a Void Color.
He can play Healbot still.
Yeah, Healbot and Void Caller, but that means he's still not out of the woods for Gromosh because that's 16 damage.
What did I say about that Flame Imp? Look at that.
Well, I mean, the combo would be to play Mal'Ganis and then Flame Imp, and then you don't actually take any
Yes,
damage.
but why would you risk having a Void Color in hand when you could put it on board and have a guaranteed Mal'Ganis?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So maybe then Cogmaster was actually better.
Yeah. Well,
Well, he was thinking about playing Mal'Ganis from hand.
that's what I thought he was gonna do with originally before he drew Void Caller.
He can
Now you have to heal bot, and I guess you just fill out with Void Caller. But again, we're on a draw for Purple to take the tournament.
That's no Gramash yet.
But he has an answer for
Yeah.
the Mal'Ganis, and now if that Void Color will bring out the Flame Imp instead of the Mal'Ganis.
Well, don't you play Mal'Ganis now?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, you might just play Mal'Ganis and flame him.
Yeah. But the Big Game Hunter will shut it down. And again, he's still on a draw to win, so even though this is a lot of pressure,
Well, actually, he will
He's
not be
still
able
okay.
to play Grommash and Big Game Hunter on the same turn.
yeah, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to die next turn.
Well,
right?
yeah, but there is maybe Defender Vargas as well in the deck.
Red Corsair.
You're right. There is Defender Vargas, I believe. And Dread Corsair is nice stall.
And one more Healbot as well, so this is far from over.
It's far from over indeed. And Ersee would definitely not tap, though, because he knows he's not in the safe range.
Well, he did assume there is no Grommash before. So if you are ballsy enough,
What are the chances that there's around
and
10
he has
cards, I would say, in the deck? Because he did draw 3 cards with the first battle, with the second battle rage, 2 cards with the first one, so that's 5 cards, and it's turn 11.
Yeah, you're right, Lothar. But on the other hand, what are the chances that he's gonna win with this hand? And he still has a heal bot. He still has Jiraxis in the deck.
Yeah, I'm saying that it's probably worth it to tap now
Yeah,
because your hand is dry.
it is.
It might be
is.
better off, but until then, he just says, like, he has 2 cards. It's unlikely that he has specifically those 2 combinations with an Inner Rage and a Grommash. And he's just going to trade. But the thing is, it's not a fast enough clock. He needs to play Imp Gang Boss.
Yeah, he just needs
But
to
that's still not
overextend for
enough.
sure.
That's over 2.5 turns that he needs to wait here.
Unless he picks up more damage. But
And Purple
Grommash
is
steals
still
the game.
so close. That's still possible for lethal if he just
Yeah.
if he just uses it on the heal bot
16
here.
damage from Grommash if Grommash is being drawn. Purple's
Oh!
searching for
We have ourselves a champion, and Purple will be the DreamHack 2015 winner to take it all.
Wow.
What a game.
He was digging for that Grommash for so many turns. So many turns, he finally got it.
Wow, job well done. Winning the Americas Championships and coming short at BlizzCon, but right thereafter becoming the DreamHack champion. What a run and streak for the past few months for one of the most hyped players. Back when he was on Archon, everyone kept talking about, like, no, Purple was like one of the best players, even though he's our analyst and coach. We definitely expected the best things from him. Firebat's been talking about a lot, and now he is the champion. There it is. Purple is joining us for a winner's interview, man. That was an awesome series.
Let me help you.
We haven't seen the Malygos deck.
He can't even put the headset on.
I really want to see Malygos, but
Yeah.
you're too good, man. Too good.
That Patron's broken too. I brought 3 really good decks to this tournament. I'm really happy with how they went.
Did you hear that actually every player here wanted to bring Malygos deck as well?
Dude, it was the funniest conversation. Okay, look at his face. But this was the conversation. I was talking with a bunch of people, like Ignite, Super JJ, etc., and they were like talking about, like, Paladin's broken, blah, blah, blah. But Purple's kind of like owning people without having Paladin in the lineup. They're like, yeah, and he has Malygos Warlock, which is pretty good against Patron and a few other stuff. And they're like, yeah, actually, I was thinking about bringing it too. And like, yeah, it's very obvious. Like, Malygos Warlock is good. And they're like, yeah, I was totally gonna bring it too. I was like, you goons, none of you were gonna do
I
it.
had 3 of them in my lineup, but I'm casting, so.
Now that the tournament's actually over, the whole strategy was Malygos Warlock actually beats absolutely everything in the game that isn't Paladin. So when Paladin's in the lineup, you just get Paladin out with Patron, and you roll on Malloc.
And then deck 3 is just
Druid.
Druid. Because Druid is like another Paladin.
It's just Druid can win games. Control Warrior could have been a problem as well. So
Yeah, well, could have, but you sniped it perfectly. Was that the exact prediction? What was going into the first class selection? Because I feel like that was also defining the entire series. The fact that you got Druid into Control Warrior to start things off.
there's no way he put me on playing Druid game 1 because I think I've played Druid twice this tournament. So yeah, so I figured he'd go either he'd open with the Warlock or the Control Warrior, and I'm super favored with the Druid. If I lose that flip, that 66% flip,
You're almost there, man. You're almost there. Finish the sentence.
Yeah, I just end up losing to Paladin. That's probably actually the whole series.
All right, cool.
So got
cool.
lucky.
Let's talk a little bit about the deck and how it came to fruition. This is something that you said that you created inspiration from Brand Bronzebeard.
Yep.
Can you talk about how you went from step 1 to step 4 or 5 from making the deck to bring it to the tournament?
Pretty much there's always the 2-drop missing in Malloc. So it's like an old deck, and all it needed was that little boost to make it great again. And honestly, it was perfect, almost perfect on the first edition of it. And probably after a week of playtesting, I figured out I can't actually beat Freeze Mage, so we threw in a Kazan just in case. The Kazan performed very well for me.
How about Bronzebeard? How good was that?
I healed for 16 multiple games with it. Gave me lethal once with a Corruptor. It's a good card.
Did you steal 2 traps at the same time?
Not in this tournament, no.
Well, that's okay. The dream still happened. You got the Brand Bronzebeard and stuff. Cool, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about how this win means to you specifically. I mean, coming off the Americas Championship in BlizzCon, I have to imagine that BlizzCon didn't go your way, but, you know, does winning DreamHack here, how does that feel to you to be able to get this big tournament win?
It definitely doesn't compensate for losing at BlizzCon, but good news is I get BlizzCon points for next year and already started the path towards next year's BlizzCon.
That's awesome, man.
And where are you taking the trophy? Because a lot of people talk like, hey, NA takes this trophy, EU takes this trophy, and Tiddler took the last trophy to Asia.
I heard you requested specifically to put the French flag. Are you abandoning NA?
Oh, no. I'm just representing Gamers Origin now, so might as well put in the French flag because I'm actually living there now. So,
Oh, how nice of you.
So you're still, like, consider yourself from Canada and stuff?
Yeah, I don't have citizenship.
All right, you're just an alien that doesn't even belong here, but very good at
He
card
lives
games.
in Azeroth.
Yeah, I guess you play enough to might as well be. Let's talk a little bit about you know, who you like to thank and shout outs, and like just talk about some other people that helped you get to this point.
Shout out to my teammate Proto, who fell short at 6-3 in this tournament, bring Milrogue.
You brought Milrogue?
He brought Milrogue.
You should have told us. We would have beaten it on stream.
He was shy. He was shy. I wanted him to be on stream.
Too bad. I love that
6-3 with
deck.
Milrogue? Are you kidding me?
It's pretty impressive.
My manager Yen, who's also here representing Gamers Origin, and of course Gamers Origin.
All right,
Sweet.
well, good stuff. I'm out of questions. You guys want to talk anything with Probo before we give him the check?
No, I was just, you know, surprised that someone brought actually Middle Rogue because that's one of my favorite decks. Well, really mad now that we didn't see that in action. But congrats again, Purple. It's an
thank you.
amazing achievement. And I'm really happy that you won this tournament because it shows that every good player can be consistent.
Absolutely.
And that brings legitimacy. Thank you for
to the scene. I think another thing that I just want to emphasize again is that you know, Purple for a long time was one of the masterminds behind a lot of practice think tanks in Hearthstone, really innovating a lot of decks. And it's awesome to see that it's your time to shine, man. It's you're being very consistent.
It's been a good couple of months for me.
It's been a good couple of months. And you've been streaming, you've been killing it, man. And now the moment's yours. Let's welcome man to the stage to give you your check for a lot of money, man.
You're also getting
12 big ones and some change.
You're also getting 15 BlizzCon points.
Hell yeah.
15.
15.
That's equivalent to being first on ladder for the season.
That's really good. I guess I can take like January off or something.
December, man. This is the first season.
Yeah.
December's the first
You're
season?
actually you're actually leading in the race for the next
I'm
year.
already winning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a winner. All right. Well, congratulations, Purple. That brings us to a close here. Man, we've had such a great amount of stories here all around. We want to definitely thank everyone who's participated, but also a big shout out. Dude, stay here, man. Stay, relax, chill.
I want to go out.
All right, all right.
That was very
All
Canadian
right, all
of
right,
you.
get out of here, get out of here, be cool. So we want to give a big shout out to the DreamHack crew as well. They did such a good job. We had 200 players travel from all over the world, from pretty much every continent too. We had Asia, we had the Middle East here, we had people from Australia as well, like Tom Fleur came out. Pretty much every corner of the globe has been represented, and it's been such a great journey. And I can't wait to see the future here, Nimsh.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so hyped for the future DreamHacks. We are going to even improve on this tournament and then just keep the culture. And it's so great because anybody can participate. It's not an invitational.
Yeah, that's right. Completely open.
You can just come in and play, and it's so great.
Well, I mean, we were talking about how we wanted to play maybe next
Yeah.
time. Well, you two specifically.
Yeah, with my Malagos decks, I was ready, man.
Yeah, I had my Malagos deck in my backpack, man, in the box.
Sure, yeah. Ready to go anytime because you thought you were going to be bringing it to. Lothar, final words.
I'm just really happy that I had been here, and it's amazing to work with the DreamHack crew. Everything went flawlessly, so I look forward to next Swiss events, and this is like brings joy to my heart, you know, seeing those those type of tournaments when we have those stories, when we have Last Hero Standing bringing some association of the classes to the players, and yeah, future Hearthstone looks really good.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. From Frodan, Nimsh, Lothar, everyone here in Jönköping, Sweden, and DreamHack crew, thanks so much, and we'll see you guys